The screaming started before the radios died. It wasn't human. Captain Elias Ward froze mid-step, one boot sinking into the wet, breathing earth of the jungle floor. The sound tore through the Amazon canopy like something alive, sharp, metallic, layered with a frequency that made his teeth vibrate. "Tell me that was one of ours," muttered Sergeant Cole beside him. No one answered, because they all knew it wasn't. Above them, the sky flickered. Not lightning, not clouds. Something moving. Then came the silence. Every insect, every bird, every distant howl of the jungle, gone, dead quiet. And that was worse. Elias raised a hand. Weapons up. Stay tight. 5 men. Deep in a section of rainforest that didn't officially exist. No satellites. No maps. Just coordinates sent through a classified channel with one message. Investigate impact. Do not engage unless necessary. Too late for that. They pushed forward, machetes slicing through vines that seemed to grow back when you weren't looking. The deeper they went, the more wrong the jungle felt. Trees twisted at impossible angles. Roots coiled like serpents above ground. The air itself felt thick, charged. Then they saw it. A clearing. Perfectly circular. Like something had burned its way down from the sky. At the center, a crater. Still smoking. "Impact site," Cole whispered. Elias nodded slowly. But his eyes weren't on the crater. They were on the edges of the clearing. Because the trees weren't just burned. They were peeled back, as if something had pushed them aside. Something massive. "Movement," hissed one of the men. They turned. And that's when they saw it. A shape. Tall. Thin. Wrong. Standing just beyond the tree line. Watching them. Its body shimmered like heat distortion, but its eyes, if that's what they were, glowed a faint, pulsing blue. No one breathed. The thing tilted its head, studying them. Then it stepped forward, and the ground beneath it didn't bend, didn't shift. It was like it wasn't even touching the earth. "Open fire!" Elias snapped. Gunfire erupted. The jungle exploded with sound, bullets tearing through leaves, bark, air. But the thing didn't fall, didn't bleed, didn't even react. It just moved, faster than anything should. 1 second it was there. The next, it was inside their formation, screaming. Gunfire stopped. Chaos. Elias turned just in time to see one of his men lifted off the ground. No hands, no grip, just pulled into the air, limbs twisting unnaturally before going still. "Fall back!" Elias shouted. But there was nowhere to go. More shapes emerged from the trees, silent, glowing, surrounding them. And then the ground shook, hard, violently. The alien creatures froze, all of them, as if something had just interrupted their hunt. The blue glow in their eyes flickered, dimmed. For the first time, they hesitated. Elias felt it too, a vibration, deep beneath his boots. Not from above, from below. Something in the jungle floor was moving. A low, thunderous rumble rolled through the clearing. The crater began to crack, not outward, inward, like the earth itself was opening. One of the alien figures turned toward it. Then another. Their movements suddenly sharp, alert, almost afraid. Elias stared, heart hammering. "What the hell is that?" Cole whispered. No one answered. Because the answer was impossible. The ground split open, and something rose. Not mechanical, not natural, not anything Elias had ever seen. A structure. Massive. Black. Covered in symbols that seemed to shift when you looked at them. It hadn't fallen from the sky. It had been buried. Deep. Waiting. And now. It was awake. The alien creatures stepped back. Not retreating, but yielding. Elias felt the air change. Heavier. Older. Like something ancient had just opened its eyes for the first time in thousands of years. Then the structure pulsed. Once. A deep, resonating hum that passed through bone and blood. Every alien in the clearing dropped instantly. Not dead. Not unconscious. But subdued. Forced down. Elias staggered, barely staying on his feet. "What is this?" he breathed. The symbols on the structure began to glow. And then, a voice. Not heard. Felt. Inside his head. Cold. Calm. Unfathomably ancient. Intrusion detected. Elias's breath caught. The jungle wasn't silent anymore. It was listening. And whatever had just awakened beneath the Amazon wasn't surprised by the aliens. It had been waiting for them. The voice didn't echo. It didn't fade. It stayed, pressed against Elias's mind like a weight he couldn't shake. Intrusion detected. Foreign entities identified. The alien creatures remained frozen, forced to the ground as if gravity itself had turned against them. But Elias and his men, they were still standing. Barely. "Why aren't we down too?" Cole muttered, gripping his rifle like it might anchor him to reality. Elias didn't answer, because he was starting to understand something. Something far worse than the aliens. This thing, whatever it was, it didn't see them as a threat. The structure shifted. Not physically, but visually, its surface rippling like liquid shadow, the glowing symbols rearranging into patterns that hurt to look at. Then the voice returned. Human presence confirmed. A pause. Long enough to feel deliberate. Designation. Inheritors. Cole blinked. Inheritors of what? The ground trembled again. But this time it wasn't violent. It was controlled. Measured. Like a heartbeat. Elias stepped forward, ignoring the instinct screaming at him to run. "Who are you?" he said, voice steady despite everything. Silence. Then, "We are the custodians." The word hit differently. Not like a translation. Like something older being forced into a human concept. Elias swallowed. Custodians of this planet? No answer. Instead, the structure pulsed again. And suddenly, images flooded his mind. Not memories. Not dreams. Records. A sky filled with stars. Ships, vast, impossible, arriving at Earth long before humanity had built its first fire. The same alien forms they were fighting now. Descending. Harvesting. Erasing. Civilizations wiped out before they could even be remembered. Elias gasped, staggering back. "They've been here before," he whispered. Cole stared at him. "What?" "They didn't just find us," Elias said, voice shaking. "They've always come back." The structure responded instantly. "Correct." The alien creatures on the ground began to twitch, struggle, trying to rise. But the invisible force held them down. Cycle detected. Termination required. Elias looked up sharply. Termination. The symbols flared brighter. Protocol dictates eradication of invasive species. Cole let out a harsh laugh. Good. Wipe them out. But Elias didn't feel relief. He felt dread. Because something about the way it said, invasive species, didn't sound limited to the aliens. You said we're inheritors, Elias said slowly. What does that mean? Another pause. Longer this time. As if the answer mattered. Previous custodianship transferred. Elias's blood ran cold. Transferred from who? The jungle darkened. Not physically, but perceptually. As if the world itself dimmed under the weight of the answer. From those who failed. A distant crack echoed through the clearing. One of the alien creatures managed to lift its head. Its glowing eyes locked onto Elias. And for the first time, he didn't see curiosity. He saw fear. Pure, unfiltered fear. Captain, Cole whispered. Elias didn't move. Couldn't. Because the realization was settling in. This thing, this custodian, had been here before humans, before recorded history, maybe even before life as they knew it, and it had one purpose, to stop whatever those aliens were, no matter the cost. The ground shook again, harder this time. Cracks spread outward from the structure, racing through the clearing like lightning. The jungle screamed back to life, birds bursting from trees, animals fleeing in blind panic. Something big was happening. Something final. Eradication sequence initiated. Elias's heart slammed against his ribs. "Wait!" he shouted. "There are people out there. Villages, cities. You can't just—" The voice cut through him. Cold. Unyielding. Collateral irrelevant. Cole swore under his breath. This thing's gonna wipe everything. Elias stepped forward again, desperation overriding fear. "We're not them," he shouted. "We're not the ones invading." Silence. Then, the symbols shifted. Slower this time. Deliberate. Assessment in progress. The alien creature that had lifted its head suddenly screamed. Not in rage. Not in pain. In warning. It was looking at the structure. Not at Elias. As if it understood something he didn't. Something worse. Elias felt it too. A change. Subtle. But undeniable. The structure wasn't just preparing to destroy the aliens. It was deciding something else. Something about humanity. And for the first time since the nightmare began, Elias realized the truth. The aliens weren't the only ones being judged. The jungle didn't feel like Earth anymore. It felt like a courtroom. And humanity was on trial. Elias couldn't breathe properly. Every inhale felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting for a verdict. The black structure pulsed again. Slower now. More. Deliberate. Assessment ongoing. The alien creature on the ground let out a sharp, clicking sound. Rapid, panicked. Others joined in, their bodies twitching as if trying to escape an invisible grip tightening around them. "They're scared," Cole whispered. Elias nodded. "Not of us." His eyes locked onto the towering structure. Of that. Another wave of images slammed into Elias's mind. But this time, they weren't ancient history. They were recent. Cities burning. Skies filled with ships. Human weapons firing. Missiles, jets, satellites, all useless against the silent, descending alien forms. Then something else. A different outcome. The same invasion. But Earth didn't fall. Instead, the ground opened. Structures like this one, hidden beneath continents, oceans, mountains, awakening, fighting back, erasing the invaders completely. Elias staggered. "There's more of you," he said, breathless. "Correct. Cold. Simple. Terrifying. How many?" A pause. Then, "Sufficient." Cole let out a low whistle. "That's not comforting." The alien nearest to them suddenly jerked upward, just a few inches, but enough to break the stillness. It shrieked. A sound so sharp Elias felt blood trickle from his ear. Then, it spoke. Not in words. But the meaning hit Elias like a punch. "You don't understand." Elias froze. "You can communicate?" The alien's glowing eyes flickered wildly. "That thing is not your protector." The structure pulsed instantly. Hard. The alien slammed back into the ground with bone-crushing force. Silence. But the damage was done. Elias stepped forward, heart racing. "What do you mean? What is it?" The alien's body trembled violently. But it pushed through. "It ends cycles." A pause. Then, "All cycles." Elias felt the world tilt. "Including us?" he whispered. The alien didn't answer directly. It didn't need to, because the structure did. Clarification. Humanity is under evaluation. Cole cursed. "Yeah, we got that part." Elias's mind raced. "This cycle? You're talking about repeated invasions?" "Correct. And every time they come back." Elias gestured weakly at the aliens. "You wipe them out?" "Correct." Elias swallowed. "And if the planet becomes too compromised?" The jungle went still again. Even the aliens stopped struggling, as if they already knew the answer. "Planetary reset authorized." Cole stared. "Reset, as in?" Elias finished it. "Extinction." No one spoke, because there was nothing to say. The truth was clear now. This thing wasn't just a defense system. It was a failsafe, a final measure. And humanity was just another variable. The ground trembled again, but this time it wasn't coming from the structure. It was coming from everywhere. Elias looked up. Through the canopy. The sky was changing. Dark shapes moved beyond the clouds. Dozens. No. Hundreds. More alien ships. Cole's voice dropped to a whisper. "That's not a scouting party." Elias shook his head slowly. "No." His grip tightened on his weapon. "That's an invasion." The alien on the ground let out a broken, desperate sound. "You have doomed yourselves." The structure responded instantly. "Incorrect." Its glow intensified. The symbols burning brighter than before. Eradication probability, 99.97%. Elias felt a flicker of hope, until the next line came. Survivability of current dominant species. Uncertain. Cole laughed bitterly. "Yeah. Figured." Elias stepped closer to the structure. "You're deciding if we live or die. Based on what?" Silence. Then, the symbols shifted again. Faster now. More complex. Criteria. Adaptability. Resistance. Worthiness. Elias frowned. Worthiness. The structure pulsed. And suddenly, every weapon in their hands went dead. Lights off. Systems fried. Even Cole's radio crackled into silence. "Hey, what the hell? Test initiated." Elias's stomach dropped. What kind of test? The answer came immediately. Survival without intervention. The invisible force holding the aliens vanished. Instantly. They rose. Slowly. Deliberately. Their glowing eyes fixed on Elias and his team. No fear now. No hesitation. Just purpose. Cole raised his useless rifle. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." Elias clenched his jaw. "This thing wants to see if we can survive them, without help." The alien closest to them tilted its head. Almost curious. Then it moved. Fast. Too fast. Elias barely had time to shout. "Run!" The jungle exploded into chaos again. Gunfire didn't matter anymore. Technology didn't matter. Training barely mattered. This wasn't a fight. It was a hunt. And they were prey. Behind them, the structure pulsed calmly. Watching. Measuring. Judging. As humanity faced the same nightmare that had wiped out countless civilizations before them. Without protection. Without mercy. And without knowing if they were meant to survive. Elias ran until his lungs burned. Branches tore at his arms, roots tried to trip him, and the jungle itself seemed determined to swallow them whole, but he didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Because the moment you slowed, you died. A scream echoed behind him. Short. Cut off instantly. Elias didn't turn. He couldn't afford to. "Keep moving," he shouted, even though he didn't know who was left to hear it. Cole was still beside him. Barely. "Captain, this way." Cole veered sharply downhill, sliding through mud toward a dense cluster of roots and rock. Elias followed. Behind them, something moved. Fast. Silent. Closing in. They dove behind a massive fallen tree just as a blur passed overhead, so fast it bent the air with it. Cole gasped. "They're faster now." Elias shook his head. "No." His eyes scanned the jungle, searching. "They're not holding back anymore." A low hum filled the air. Not from the aliens. From the ground. The structure. Even from miles away. It was still watching. Still running its test. Elias gritted his teeth. "Then we changed the rules." Cole blinked. "With what?" "We've got nothing." Elias looked around. At the jungle. Dense. Alive. Dangerous. A thought sparked. "Not nothing," he said. "We've got Earth." Another movement. Closer this time. Elias grabbed Cole's arm. "Climb." "What?" "Climb." They scrambled up the fallen tree just as one of the alien creatures emerged below them. It paused. Scanning. Its glowing eyes flickering. Searching for movement. For heat. For sound. Elias held his breath. Then he picked up a loose chunk of bark and threw it. Hard. Far to the left. The alien's head snapped toward the noise, and it launched after it. Gone in a blink. Cole exhaled sharply. "Okay, that works." Elias nodded. "They're not invincible." "No," Cole said quietly. "But they're close." A distant explosion echoed through the jungle. Both men froze. "That wasn't us," Cole said. Elias's eyes widened. "No." He looked up toward the sky, barely visible through the canopy. That was them. The invasion had started. And suddenly, the test wasn't just in the jungle anymore. It was everywhere. Elias slid down from the tree. We need to move. Where? Elias didn't hesitate. Back. Cole stared at him. Back. To that thing. Elias's voice hardened. That thing is the only reason we're not already extinct. Another distant boom. Closer this time. The war was spreading. Fast. They're hitting the planet, Elias said. Cities. Military bases. Everything. Cole ran a hand through his hair. So what? Our brilliant plan is to go back to the alien god machine that might kill us anyway? Elias met his eyes. No, he said. Our plan is to prove it wrong. Cole frowned. Wrong about what? Elias turned, already moving. About us. They pushed through the jungle again, faster this time, more focused. Behind them, the sounds of chaos grew. Not just the aliens anymore, but something else. Something louder. Human. Jets screaming overhead. Distant gunfire. Missiles. Humanity was fighting back. And losing. But still fighting. Elias felt something shift inside him. Not fear. Not panic. Something stronger. They think we're just another species to evaluate, he muttered. Cole glanced at him. And Elias's grip tightened. Then we show them what humans do. They broke into the clearing again, and everything had changed. The structure stood taller now, fully emerged from the earth, its black surface blazing with light. The remaining alien creatures were gone. Not dead. Gone. Erased. The ground itself was scorched in perfect circles where they had been. Cole slowed. Okay, that's new. Elias stepped forward. We're not done, he said loudly. The structure pulsed. Test incomplete. Elias nodded. Yeah, I figured. He took another step. You want to know if we're worth saving? The symbols shifted. Focusing. Listening. Elias spread his arms, gesturing toward the distant sounds of war echoing through the jungle. Listen. Another explosion. Closer now. Human weapons firing. Human voices shouting. Fighting. Dying. But not giving up, Elias said. His voice didn't shake anymore. We don't wait for extinction. Another step. We don't rely on something else to save us. Another. We fight. The structure pulsed again. Stronger. Observation acknowledged. Elias pointed toward the sky. Those things up there, they've done this before, right? Correct. And every time, someone lost. A pause. Correct. Elias nodded. Not this time. Silence. Heavy. Then, the symbols began to shift faster than ever before. Rewriting. Recalculating. And for the first time, the structure hesitated. The sky was on fire. Even through the dense Amazon canopy, flashes of light bled through, streaks of orange and white as human missiles collided with alien ships high above. The ground trembled with distant impacts. The war had reached full scale, and humanity was still standing. Barely. Elias stood in the clearing, staring up at the towering structure. Make your decision, he said. The black surface rippled. Not cold anymore. Not detached. Something had changed. Assessment revised. Cole exhaled. About time. Elias didn't relax. Not yet. Revised how? The symbols flared. Brighter than ever before. Humanity demonstrates resistance beyond projected parameters. Another pulse. Stronger. Adaptability. Confirmed. The jungle seemed to breathe again, as if the world itself was listening. Persistence under extinction-level threat. Confirmed. Elias felt his chest tighten. They were close. So close. Then, the final line came. Judgment. Pending. Cole threw his hands up. Pending. What else do you want from us? As if in answer, the ground shook violently. Not from the structure. From the sky. Elias looked up, and his blood ran cold. A massive shadow descended through the clouds, larger than anything before. A command ship. The heart of the invasion. Cole whispered, "That thing, that's the end." Elias shook his head slowly. "No." His eyes hardened. "That's the test." The structure pulsed again. Once. Twice. Then, for the first time, it moved. Not just shifting. Not just glowing. Moving. Rising higher from the earth, its full form emerging. Vast, angular, covered in shifting symbols that now burned like stars. Final evaluation initiated. Elias stepped back. "What are you doing?" The answer came like thunder, demonstrating partnership. The air exploded. A shock wave blasted outward from the structure, flattening trees for hundreds of meters. Above, the massive alien ship froze mid-descent. Then, it cracked. Not from missiles. Not from human weapons. From something unseen. Something precise. The ship folded inward on itself, silent, controlled, before collapsing into nothing. Gone. Just gone. Cole stared, mouth open. "Okay, yeah, I'm convinced." Elias didn't look away, because it wasn't over. More ships followed. Dozens. Hundreds. And the structure wasn't stopping. Pulses of energy rippled outward, each one erasing another alien vessel from existence. Effortless. Absolute. Across the planet, hidden custodians awakened, answering the same call, the same judgment. Humanity wasn't fighting alone anymore. They never had been. The sky cleared. Slowly. Impossible moments passing like seconds. Until silence. No ships. No fire. No invasion. Just Earth. Still standing. Elias let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. We did it. The structure dimmed. The blazing symbols softening. Calming. Judgment complete. Elias looked up. Heart pounding. Well. A pause. Then, for the first time, the voice didn't feel cold. Humanity is deemed worthy. Cole laughed, half relief, half disbelief. Took you long enough. Elias smiled faintly, but his eyes stayed on the structure. What happens now? The answer came gently, almost respectfully. Custodianship shared. Elias frowned. Shared. The symbols shifted one last time. Simpler now. Stable. You are no longer subjects of protection. A pause. Then, you are partners in it. Elias felt something settle into place. Something bigger than fear. Bigger than survival. Responsibility. The jungle began to heal around them, broken branches settling, the air clearing, life slowly returning. The world hadn't ended. It had changed. Forever. Cole nudged him. So, what now, Captain? Elias looked up at the sky. Clear. Quiet. Human. For the first time, he said, We're not waiting for the next invasion. He turned back toward the structure, toward the future. We're preparing for it.